And if you're thinking that you're going to lose either a shit ton of weight, or certainly you're going to try to gain muscle, right? Like actually challenge your muscles via just walking, it doesn't make any sense. And so most people, when they come on diets, they do the common two things. They cut their calories pretty big, and then they also walk or maybe even jog for like 45, 60 plus minutes, most days of the week. And they wonder after maybe a week or two where they do get a little blip of weight loss, then they get nothing. Most people don't get nothing, and research backs that up, okay? So I want to talk about why cardio, okay, is really, it obviously comes down to the types of cardio. Now again, folks, if you're looking at the sustainability of getting into doing a fitness program, really managing an exercise routine, and you love cardio activities such as spin class, such as cycling, such as swimming, such as walking with your pet or spouse, right? Such as going to the running room and running with a group. Clearly, that's what you get jacked up for. You look forward to it. It's socializing, and it makes you go. You probably are really more consistent with those type activities because you enjoy them a lot versus the stuff that you might just completely hate. So one, I'm coming from fat loss here. I'm not talking about that you should never do cardio. I'm talking about if you have a goal of building muscle, really truly defining your core, your abs, your glutes, your arms, your back, your shoulders, chest, whatever, and you're truly looking to get a shit ton of weight off and keeping it off, this is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So I'm putting that aside because I love basketball. I walk with my dog. I love hikes with my kids and family. Am I going to stop that because it's, research shows that it has really minor things to do with fat loss? Heck no. It's great for my mind. Just great to break things up, and I enjoy those activities. But if I'm going to be looking to, okay, I'm going to really trim down now for the next 3 months, Ryan, I'm not going to be putting all my eggs in that cardio basket, okay? Because it's the type of cardio that matters most, okay? All right, so main thing, should you do cardio at all? Okay? Again, if your goal is fat loss here and building muscle, walks are fine. Walks are good because it helps with recovery. It's like a no-nonsense. You just kind of go out and do it. 30 minutes, fasted cardio in the morning if you want, right? Get on a treadmill or a step climber, put it on an incline, and just go at a nice walk pace. That's fine. That's okay, right? It's not going to cut down on your fat dramatically, but it helps with just keeping your cortisol levels low, which I'm going to talk about in a second or later. But it also is great for just stress management, okay? And just things to kind of break it up and help with recovery. However, when we know, okay, what types of, if your goal is fat loss, if you've got low steady state cardio or HIIT, high intensity interval training, those are your two types. So walking, swimming, cycling really lightly, jogging really lightly, or sprints or hill sprints or like circuits where you're going really fast with some breaks, right? Or you're using weights even for like 30 seconds flat out and then you rest, or Tabata, where you get on a cardio machine and you go hardcore for 20 seconds and then you rest for 10 seconds and you repeat that 7-8 times. HIIT, which is that latter part, is superior by 9-10-fold, okay, for fat loss. And I'm talking specifically really hitting fat loss, your fat stores, okay? So anybody that comes to me with a significant fat loss goal, clearly they're doing strength training, but they're also definitely doing HIIT. And that might be only a few days a week. And then the other days might be your walks, your cycling, your swimming, maybe a game of hockey, maybe, I don't know, a game of volleyball with the girls, whatever it is. Like that's thrown in, but in a good, robust, balanced program, you're looking at obviously strength training and HIIT as your primary two modes for assisting with fat loss and obviously keeping the weight off. Now remember folks too, okay? Hey Crystal, hey Cynthia, is HIIT is so different for everybody. Do I want someone that's 50, 55, that's got a knee pain, back pain, hip pain? Should I put that person on a treadmill machine, jack it up, and go full out sprints, 20 seconds at a time, 10 seconds rest? I'd be an absolute idiot. I wouldn't even have a career. I'd be sued. I'd be, you know what I mean? I'd be washed out. So there's a smart way of doing it. But that's the great thing about intervals, is that you can go from very beginner, meaning maybe you go from like a 1-to-1 ratio where you jog for 60 seconds and then you walk for 2 minutes, like a 1-to-2 ratio, I should say. then that gets better. Maybe you work to a 1-to-1 ratio where you walk for 60 seconds and jog for 60 seconds. And then maybe you speed it up and now you're going to go more of like a fast sprint for 30 seconds and then you're going to rest for 30 or maybe 60 seconds. So you can do things so maybe differently based on your fitness level, your experience, your body's capabilities. But again, folks, I want to just hammer out that walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, okay, does very little to basically zilch when it comes to fat loss. Now, you might say, well, I have experienced my best friend, all they did was walk and they lost 60 pounds. Yep. There's obviously exceptions to the rule. And also those that are significantly obese, like what they call morbidly, grossly obese, okay? They just need to do a little bit of movement and they lose a shit ton of weight quickly, right? But as the weight lowers and lowers and lowers, it becomes a bit more challenging to lose the weight. If you're someone that only needs 15 pounds lost, then walking, okay, is going to do very little for yourself. And listen, you can ask people. I tell people, it doesn't take rocket science to look at the common gym setup where they have all their cardio equipment out at front, and you see people, because I used to work in gyms, and you see people that are on those cardio machines 4 or 5 days a week for about 45 to 60 plus minutes, and yet their body has not changed in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. Just has not changed. One, they could be obviously overeating and they're thinking because they're exercising that they're not tracking their food. So of course I don't know their diet. But what happens is, even if you're just doing like elliptical for like 60 minutes, you burn some calories, but it doesn't do much for your actual fat stores. It just doesn't. So don't think like that might be new to you. You might be like, hey, is he whipping out voodoo here? No, just research backs it up. That low kind of jogging even, jog 5K a day, not going to do much for your fat loss. It's going to do great for your fitness, right? Your actual cardiovascular system. But again, am I talking about being fit here? No. Am I talking about general health? No. I'm talking about if you have fat loss goals and you're over 40 and you've got a lot of weight to lose, you've got a big ass belly, okay? Or you've now become skinny fat, where you've lost weight, but your skin is that loose, right? You have no definition to yourself, okay? Then cardio can go that route, right? So, and you look at a lot of runners in the city, they're skinny fat. They're amazingly fit, but they're skinny fat. Now, I'm telling you what it is and what they are like. Now, if they prefer that and they are just focused on running, hey, perfect, right? They're doing good because they're running. But if, again, they're like, I'm just not satisfied with how I look. It seems like I can never break my plateau. It's like I can lose a pound here and there, but boom, I just don't go any further. Again, are you doing enough strength training? Are you being really consistent with your diet? Obviously looking at stress and sleep, but the cardio is probably too of that long, intense. And I want to bring this up. Those that have stress, okay, and I'm going to talk about stress in the next, tomorrow or the next night. Can't recall right off the top of my head, okay? But those that have stress, as I said before, is a significant fat blocker. It just is. When you have a lot of cortisol, stress hormone, in your bloodstream, just basically circling through the body, okay, it's really that much harder to kind of allow for those kind of the fat being broken down and utilized as energy and all those sources. And remember too, your anabolic hormones such as, estrogen, but also testosterone for men, when cortisol levels are up, it almost counteracts your testosterone levels. So if you're high stressed and you do 60-minute treadmill jogs or cycling or ellipticals, okay, you're actually adding more cortisol, way more cortisol to your body. So then that becomes even that much further to actually really start to lose fat or also gain muscle. And that's been proven by research, not just one study, but multiple studies, okay? So the key here is, again, understanding what types. But again, I'll go on one end of the spectrum here and talk about where if you're just basically walking or you're jogging and that's your jam, again, good on you for being active and maybe your fitness is decent, but if your body is not where you want it, then clearly that is the focus that you got to look at. And you have to have a compromise and say, do I need to slack back my running for 3, 4, 5 months-ish? And then maybe bring in interval training and strength training to kind of get in a really good lean body. And then you bring back in your running a bit more of a higher frequency. You can do that. But those that start, Okay, you have those that, like I said, are doing just basic cardio and not seeing any results. On the flip side, I'm speaking to those Orange Theory people, okay? CrossFit to a small degree, but not so much. More Orange Theory, more like boot camp stuff, okay? Where it's always hit, and I'm speaking to those places, okay? And I got clients, I know the owners, so I'm not ratting on that. Absolutely. What I'm talking about is firsthand knowledge. Firsthand knowledge, firsthand client experiences, but also research to back it up, is that if you're doing 5 to 6, 7 days of HIIT, again, you're tremendously fit. There's no question you're fit, right? You're fit anaerobically, okay? But what happens is that stress, and you're really not taxing your muscles a lot because you're trying to do so many exercises in like a 30-minute, 40-minute period. You're just going flat out. You're not going to change your body fat dramatically, or you're not also going to enhance your strength and muscle mass dramatically. What happens is your stress can go through the damn roof, can cause an injury. But again, I'm always talking about asterisks here. Some people can get an amazing, fit, lean, core, ripped shape on some of those protocols. Same thing, some people I've seen do dramatic things when they are just doing low cardio and things like that. I'm taking the masses here, folks. It's always about averages, okay? There's always exceptions to the rules, okay? But also those that, like I said, do constant HIIT, you increase your chances of potential injury. You're not allowing your body to actually recover, okay? And your stress, cortisol, is also through the roof when you're doing HIIT that hard. Like when you're doing HIIT that much, okay, with minimal rest periods, your cortisol and stress continues to rises. So again, you can have both sides of the spectrum. Now you might be confused by what I just whipped out there, but again, I'm just trying to point out, here are some kind of key things that you need to consider. And the reality is if a really basic kind of program, fat loss program, heading into, finishing 2020, heading into 21, you do strength training a minimum of 3 days a week, where you're actually, if you're just starting with body weight, fine, but ideally after a few weeks, you need to get some more resistance. So resistance bands, kettlebells, dumbbells, you're going to need to get them somehow, because I know they're hard to get by. But you're going to have a minimum of 3 days. 3 to 4 days is certainly good for beginners, for strength training. And then you want about like 2 HIIT days, right? 2 HIIT days. Now you can do it on the same day that you do strength, or just as a standalone day. But that's where you only want about, say, 20 minutes. That's all you need. That's the kind of benefit with also HIIT, is that you don't need the 45 to 60-minute workouts, okay? So with HIIT, you could again do stairs in your home, rounds of burpees with like mini rest periods. Or if you got a cardio machine or you got outside, you can basically do those intervals where you go really fast and then you allow for your breath and recovery, your heart rate to come down, and then you repeat for, say, 10 cycles. So you only need 15, 20 minutes with HIIT. But if you really push, okay, you get significant fat burning going on, calories being burned. But there's one aspect that people probably most of you may not know about, which is called EPOC. E-P-O-C. Excess post-oxygen consumption. Who cares what it actually means, okay, or what it stands for? What it means is when you compare, okay, someone that just did a 60-minute jog, spin class-ish, okay, just regular cycling on the elliptical, walk outside, or on a cardio machine. So more lower intensity. I should probably take away spin, because spin is obviously more or less high intensity. So cycling just at your own pace, swimming, elliptical, stair climber, treadmill, walking. If you do that for like 45, 60 minutes, okay, what happens is once you literally stop that activity, like you get home or you hop off the machine, it takes you a little bit of time to get back down to, say, right now, how much your calories you're burning right now as you watch me, okay? Like your true basal metabolic rate of just burning calories, okay? It might take you maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour to 2 hours max, right? To go from the end of the workout back to kind of your resting state. What HIIT does, and strength training, resistance training, and HIIT does, especially like really high intensity HIIT, okay? If you're capable of doing it, of course, being safe. Your EPOC, your rate that you're basically burning calories, okay? From basically once you're stopped that HIIT or strength training workout, can last up to 48 hours. Now that's all depending on the intensity that you do, but it's certainly between 12, anywhere up to 48 hours after you're done your workout. You're sitting down, you're watching TV, and you're burning calories still. That's the benefit, folks. Okay? So when you see people doing, a kettlebell finisher at the end of their workout, or they're doing stairs, or they're doing hill sprints outside, or they're doing, getting on the treadmill or the Airdyne bike, and they just go really hard, and then they give themselves some time to recover, and then they go for it. To me, that's always going to be your best from a fat burning and a fat loss perspective. And I say this just to give you a visual. If you look at a marathon runner, okay, classic runner in general, and you look at a sprinter, especially like an Olympic sprinter, what comes to mind? Look at their body. Just stop for a second and really look at their body. And that tells you how muscle can really be not only maximized and maintained even by doing cardio. So you look at, the Donovan Baileys. You look at, what's his name? Well, not so much. Usain Bolt is still lean, right? He's lean, but you see some sprinters, even the top sprinters, that are absolutely ripped and very muscular. Like they're not like small, like they're super big and they're cut like crazy, right? Whereas a lot of marathon runners, they're really lean, right? Really, really, really lean. Some of it is really good muscle, others maybe not so much. They might be pear shape, okay? So look at that and say how cardio can affect muscle. Well, again, the type of cardio can really do a tremendous amount of benefit towards your fat loss and maintaining muscle mass versus if you don't do any, and I said this last night, if you do not do any strength training, hear me out, if you're over 40, especially pushing towards 50 plus, if you're cutting your calories, especially protein, but calories overall, you're not doing any strength training whatsoever, and you're primarily doing like walks, or you're on a cardio machine of some kind for like 45, 60 plus minutes, 3 or 4 or 5 days a week, you are actually losing muscle every single week. Every single week, you're losing muscle. And I am not making that up. Do you want that to happen, yes or no? Drop that below in the comments. Do you want to lose muscle at whatever age you are at right now? Yes or no? Drop in the comments below. It's got to be no, right? And so I'm not saying that you need to be muscle bound, that you need to be a sprinter, that you need to be a bodybuilder. No, okay? But if you want stronger joints, stronger bones, especially post-menopause women, you want to just be able to make it easier for yourself to actually indulge in some food and still have the ability to maintain your body weight or maintain your muscle mass even though you can eat some of these things. Well, obviously having a good metabolism, clearly your hormones need to be in check, folks. I'm not stunned, okay? You need to get that checked if you feel like you have hormone issues. But you also need to have a certain amount of lean tissue or muscle mass in your body for that to happen, okay? And so just doing basic walking and cardio, if you are just starting, if those of you who are watching me and you're like, oh my God, so if I probably maybe want to work with Ryan, like he's going to get me doing some HIIT right off the hop. No, folks. If you aren't doing shit right now, then naturally start walking, add more steps to your day, and maybe toss in a few push-ups or squats or lunges. That's like a first level, ground zero, right? Then we progress on that. But what I'm saying is, if you're 3 months in, 6 months in, 1 year in, and you're like, man, my body hasn't changed. It just has not changed, right? Then, you got to kind of look at the mode of exercise that you're doing because food plays a significant role, but obviously how your body looks in terms of its amounts of leanness, okay, is clearly going to be dictated by the types of exercise that you do and the frequency that you do, okay? So, the other thing that I just wanted to talk about there was, bear with me here because I want to make sure I'm covering all my points. Yeah, I just got to kind of reiterate that, is that we all have high stress, like we all do. Even if you feel like you've got your shit managed during COVID, right? Your job is kept, you're doing very well, family's doing well. We're all in a anxious mode, a bit more. Maybe just a slight bit more for some of you. Some of you you're almost on the deep end, right? You literally, it's wild, okay? Well, again, because the very fact that you might be stressed, okay? When you do those long aerobic workouts, you are really significantly adding stress to your system. So, but what you kind of get lost is, man, I get the runner's high. I love working, I love walking, I love jogging for a long period of time. I love cycling for 45, 60 minutes. Again, you kind of got to have a match here, right? And so if you're really starting to see great results, but yet you are doing long cardio, well, listen, you've fought the averages and go with it. But for many of you, where I know you want to kind of do, the activities that you love, you kind of got to look at it and still toss in, sprinkle some stuff that you may not necessarily really enjoy if it means that it's going to hit your goals or get you closer and on the path to your goals, right? You understand what I'm saying with that? So that's the other thing too, is that do I always love doing like strength workouts, or do I always love doing HIIT? Heck no, especially HIIT. A HIIT is sometimes like, oh my God, I got to get on the Airdyne bike, or I'm going to do stair sprints. Man, it is FML. It sucks. Sometimes you want to feel like you want to throw up sometimes, depending on how hard you're going to go. But again, it's for the greater cause. It's for the greater cause. And so for me, right, like I want to be lean. I want to be athletic. Naturally, I also want to have a good cardiovascular system if I play sports. So I am going to get my long cardio via that type of method. But I'm just not someone that goes on the treadmill, and that's just my thing. I'm not a runner. Don't like it. Never did. But listen, there's amazing fit, lean runners because they probably do other things and they have their nutrition locked in, and it's probably been a lifestyle choice for many, 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 many years. Some of you, though, that just all of a sudden pick up running when they have a tremendous amount of weight on, is not only it's it potentially, you may not, depending on what your goal is, but you're also putting a lot of havoc on your joints, right? You're putting a shit ton of pressure, discomfort, obviously demand on a joint system that is purely not ready for it, just because it's a really fundamental and fun basic activity, i.e. running, okay? So again, kind of got to look at how your body is also set up, okay? But the bottom line, because again, these videos are specifically, I'm targeting those that are looking for fat loss or looking to build muscle. That's where these 5 topics are coming from. So again, I'm not talking about destroying cardio or negating cardio or whatever. No, it's just, it needs to be somehow strategically, okay, put into your system. And if that long so-called form of cardio is your primary and only source, then I hate to bust your bubble that you're just not going to truly see a significant enhancement or change to your body composition by sticking to that long type cardio. You're just not. And I've seen it, like I said, hundreds of clients, not 1, 2, 10, hundreds of clients, okay? All right, so to recap, big thing there is toss in some HIIT, even if it's beginner, right? Where you go for, you rest for twice the length of time that you do your work ratio, and then you slowly improve over time. But you only need 2 to 3, max 3, but anywhere between 2 to 3 sessions of HIIT, okay? Toss in the lower intensity stuff that you do enjoy with either social people or by yourself. And then finally, clearly, as I said last night, you need to throw in the strength training, okay? So that's it for that. Again, any questions, right? If you do, I'll still, every now and then just check to see if there was a question or something like that. And you can still ask me privately if you've got a question that you'd be like, hey, man, listen, I've been training for the Tele 10. I've been doing this, 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 and this. And you're telling me that running is whatever, or you need a little bit more advice or something like that or clarification on it, whip it out to me. I'll be gladly to clarify what I am. I can bring up studies if for those that really need that level of proof, if you will. But I just think that you really kind of got to analyze the big picture here. Because remember, from a metabolism and muscle building standpoint, okay, you got to look at the type of exercise. First, just move. Like, just move if you're not doing nothing. And then you've got to kind of, level up level up your progress to do that. Okay, so big thing, tomorrow is basically all about, accountability. Okay, that's my biggest thing that I'm going to be chatting about tomorrow. So I hope that you stay tuned. Again, 8:30 tomorrow night. And finally, again, this is just Black Friday week. I might catch 1 or 2 people that didn't watch the first 2 videos. If you haven't, please watch. Just scroll down further on my profile page and you'll see the other 2. But again, if you're feeling like Christmas is coming up, you want to give yourself or maybe your spouse, right, a gift of fitness as they go into 2021, or you want to get started way before 2021 even starts, then again, I'm offering really ridiculous low price, or I should say a deal, right? A really sick deal for Black Friday for a variety of my programs, by the way. So if you've ever been kind of like on the fence, working with myself or anybody, then at least just hop on a call, get the details of that, find out exactly what you need, and we can see if we obviously match to each other. If you are interested to either knowing more of what those deals actually are, because they are only going to be offered until Monday night, so coming up, you literally just send me a DM with Black Friday Oz, O-Z, okay? You can put it in the comments below as well. And, you know, again, tag somebody, share this, greatly appreciated. Hey, just little me, right? Small ass business. Always like when people do a little bit of sharing because I know that obviously it was valuable to you. So if you got one little nugget that was of value to you tonight, then maybe there was someone else that you know personally that might very well find another one little nugget just like yourself and really helps them maybe get themselves a bit more towards getting back to where they need to be. All right, folks. See you tomorrow night. Love you.